This is the edexcel Unit 2 Religion and Life Christianity revision section on matters of life and death. It is based upon purely the Christian beliefs on life after death and does not cover the rest of the unit on non-religious reasons for life after death. The unit itself requires you to look at also abortion, euthanasia and world poverty. The first thing that you need to understand is why Christians believe in life after death. Now, all Christians believe in life after death, and they believe in this due to a number of reasons. The first being that the basis of Christianity is that Jesus rose from the dead, which suggests there is an afterlife for everyone. Another reason, there are many verses in the Bible which mention the afterlife. A third, Christian churches all teach that there is an afterlife. It is also part of the creeds of the church, and some Christians believe that they've experienced the paranormal. It also provides the meaning and purpose of one's life. Although Christians do believe in an afterlife, they have different views on what happens when people die. Most Christians believe in the immortality of the soul or the resurrection of the body. There are two definitions that are very important to Christian beliefs in life after death. The first is the immortality of the soul. This is the idea that the soul lives on after the death of the body. The second is resurrection, the belief that after death, the body stays in the grave until the end of the world when it is raised. As already mentioned, there are different Christian beliefs in life after death. The first sort of group of Christians are Protestant Christians who believe that after death, the body will stay in the grave, but the soul will go straight to God for judgment. There is a difference of opinion about what will happen to those who do not go to heaven, and some believe there is no place such as hell. It's also important to understand why these beliefs are held. Now, such Protestant Christians would say that Jesus told a thief on the cross that he would be in heaven on that day. Jesus said his Father's house had many rooms, and that Jesus was preparing for his followers. The teaching of the church is that there can be a communion of the saints, a communication between dead and living Christians. Also, there's evidence of the paranormal, such as ghosts and mediums. Other evangelical Protestant Christians believe that after death, the body and soul stay in the grave until the end of the world. At this time, a Christian will be judged. The good will go to heaven, and sinners who have not repented will go to hell. Now again, it is important to understand why these beliefs are held. Jesus' body was raised from the dead, and such Christians are taught to believe in the resurrection of the body and everlasting life. And evidence of this comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 15, where St. Paul teaches this belief. Roman Catholic Christians believe in both the resurrection of the body and the immortality of the soul. They believe that the soul of a Christian who has not sinned since their last confession will go straight to heaven. The soul of a Christian that has sinned will go to purgatory, for their souls need to be cleansed. The souls of who do not believe in God or have committed unforgivable sins will go to hell. After this, Jesus will come back to earth to raise the dead and reunite their bodies and souls. God will make a new heaven and a new earth, and the souls in purgatory will go to heaven, and the souls from hell will return to hell. Again, it is important to understand why these beliefs are held. As already mentioned, the resurrection of Jesus himself is an important reason. The teachings of the New Testament need to be considered, and the teaching in the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Roman Catholic Christians also believe that Jesus is seated on the right hand of the Father and will come again to judge the living and the dead. Having looked briefly at the Christian beliefs in life after death, it is important to consider how Christian beliefs about life after death affect the way they live. Now, there are many effects, but just to look at a couple. Christians believe that they will be judged by God after death, so they will live within the guidelines given in the Bible and by the Church. This affects how they live their lives and how they treat others. Another effect is the fact that Jesus rose from the dead gives Christians hope that they will also rise, and that in the afterlife they will be rewarded for their time on earth, and hence what they do in this life will have an impact in the future. The promise of the afterlife also means forgiveness for some Christians who have done awful things but repented and now hope for a better future. As well as this, it offers comfort to those who have suffered the death of a loved one. Some Christians say that the promise of heaven is more important because of the quality of life they have now in preparation for that day. To sum up, it is important to remember the following: that people have many different views about what happens after death. All Christians believe in life after death because of the teachings of the Bible and the Church, and because they believe that Jesus rose from the dead. There's a variety of Christian views about what happens. Most Christians believe in either the immortality of the soul or the resurrection of the body, and this affects how Christians live their lives because they believe God will reward those who have lived according to God's will. You do need to consider why non-religious people believe in the afterlife and the other topics mentioned within this unit as well as part of your revision.